welcome to my stamp studio. Today we are going to make one of the Party with the Puffins card. We are doing the birthday candle puffin card. So this is the card that we will be making. And the supplies that we'll need is going to be a 8.5 by 5.5 piece of thick white cardstock. We're going to score it at 4 1/4. And that will be our card base. We then have a piece of Bermuda Bay, which measures 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of Whisper White, which measures 3 3/4 by 5. We have a piece of Granny Apple Green, which measures 2 3/4 by 3 7/8. And we have a piece of white, which measures 2 5/8 by 3 3/4, just so we have a slight little layer right there. All right, so we're going to get started on stamping. And the first thing that we're going to do is pull out our candles from our Party Puffins set. Let's get our candles, and we are going to be using our Stays On ink. All right, and I just need a stamp block here. All right. Get these two things off to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get this inked up, and we are randomly going to stamp candles across the card on the left hand side. Now you may not end up seeing all of them, but that's okay. Leave a little bit of room between, because we're going to come back in with our little fish. And we're going to stamp our little fish on there. Sorry, I'm cleaning the block, so that sometimes will shake the table. And now we're going to pull in our little fish here. So there's our little fish. And again, using the Stays On, we are just going to stamp our fish randomly between all the candles. Just like that. All right, now to give the card a little bit of color, we're going to go ahead and pull in our Stampin' Right markers. So I'm going to pull in Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and I think we'll go ahead and pull in Melon Mambo. And I do want to also grab Mango here, because that is what I'm going to end up coloring the beak and stuff with. So actually, before I close up my stamp case here, I'm going to go ahead and take my party hat Puffin. I'm going to ink him up really well. So when you're doing this, make sure you have your stamp inked really well. Otherwise, you have to pull out your Stamparatus so you can line things up. And I'm just going to stamp him more towards the top. There we go. Stamp off a little bit to get some of that ink off. I'm just going to clean it off to the side here, and we'll cover this up. The next thing I'm going to stamp is going to be our happy birthday, and I'm going to use our Granny Apple Green. I'm going to get that more centered on there. Our Granny Apple Green marker, and I'm just going to run my marker right across the top here and get that all colored. Now, if there's a breeze in your room, like I had the fan on, what you want to make sure is that you re-moisten this, and you just do that by breathing on it. So I just breathed on it and got some of my hot air on there and went ahead and stamped it. There we go. So that's all it is for the stamping pieces of this card. Okay, and now let's go ahead and start coloring really quick. So I'm going to just take my Granny Apple Green here, and I'm going to color in his party hat, just like that. Move that off to the side, because now I'm going to go ahead and color in some of my candles here. So I'm going to do the same shape candle in all the same color. All right, so now I'm done with my green. And I can go ahead and bring in, we'll also need daffodil here. Actually, we could just use our mango throughout the whole thing. Let's just do that. So I'm going to take my brush end of my mango here and color in his little topper. I'm going to go ahead and color in the front part of the beak and his feet. So this coloring goes pretty fast. Move that off to the side. And now I'm going to color in all the little bows on the fish. And then I'm going to get all the little flames on the candle. So this is a pretty basic card. Pretty simple to make. The measurements are a little tough on the cutting just because I wanted to give that a really thin granny apple green in the background. If you want to make it a little larger, you can. Totally up to you. Again, with creating with me, you can adjust any of the measurements I give to how you want your card to look. That's the fun part about stamping and having your own things, is that you can do that. All right, I think I got all the candles. Okay, next thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my Bermuda Bay here, and I'm going to come in with my marker and just color in the rest of his beak. And I'm just going to go ahead and color in the hat. And you can use whatever colors that you want on this. We'll come back over here and I'm going to, let's just color in the fish the same way. So my picture on the PDF will look a little different just because I use different colors. And if we wanted, we could actually pull in one of the other colors. When you have the whole color family, it's really nice because then you can use all the different colors. And it coordinates with your cardstock. So something to think about. So on most of these projects, you'll be using the Brights Designer Series paper as well as the Brights cardstock. So you can get the assorted cardstock and know that you will have enough to make all these cards. Maybe a little extra left over. All right, and let's see, I need a candle. I'm going to go ahead and pull in my Coastal Cabana just to give it a little bit lighter color. And I'm going to color the entire candle in here. I'm not going to separate it out. So it's just a little bit lighter of a blue there. It's one of those happy colors. Right. And now I'll take my Melon Mambo here just to give it a little bit of pop. If you were making this for a boy and didn't want to use Melon Mambo, you could always use Poppy Parade. Or who knows, maybe the boys like the pink. You never know. Okay, so that is it for this. I did not stamp the inside of the card, so you can put whatever you want on the inside. Let's go ahead and get to layering here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my liquid glue. And now that I've finished the stamping on that, I'm going to go ahead and put this together. I like to do my stamping first so that I don't accidentally make a mistake and have to scrap the whole thing. I just have that one piece of cardstock to scrap. All right, so there's that. We are going to just add the black matte dot embellishments on here, and that's going to be it for this card. Just keeping it pretty simple. Just like that. All right, and now we've got our last two layers here, and I'm going to actually pop this up on dimensionals. Get that centered. This is why I like to use the liquid glue. It gives me a little bit of wiggle, so if I have to move my card around a little bit, I can. So let's go ahead and just put some dimensionals on here. All right. Put my glue back in its little holder there. Pop this right on the front of my card. And there we go. First card is done. Oh, no, we need our little embellishments, so let me grab those. I almost forgot those. Very important part. It just gives the card a little something. And I just need my Take a Pic tool, which happened to wander off. All right, well, since I don't see it right here right now, we will just grab, I don't know what I'm gonna grab. I'll grab my scissors. That'll work too. So I'm just gonna take a couple of these and put one right here. A larger one right below it. And then I think we'll do another small one right over here. There we go. So there is the first card. All right, we'll see you later for the next couple of cards.